Well, and the month of October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It affects 1 in 8 women, and treatments can sometimes come at a cost. Alexa Lorenzo is putting your family first tonight.
Nobody wants to hear the words, "You have breast cancer."
When you're initially given the diagnosis, your intention and your focus is on survival. What do I do to get through this?
Thanks to cutting-edge treatments, more than 90% of women with breast cancer will beat the disease. But the cost of care can be financially devastating for some. Breast cancer has the highest total treatment costs of any cancer. The therapies themselves can be pricey, but there are also secondary costs like childcare, transportation, supplements, wigs, reconstructive surgery, fertility treatments, and more. Studies show more than half of breast cancer survivors go into debt for years as a result of their care. Some report spending more than 20% of their annual income on ongoing medical care.
Breathe and relax. Good job.
So what can be done? Research suggests diagnosing women earlier can cut costs significantly. The average cost 1 year after diagnosis is about $51,000 for stage 1 breast cancer, compared to $116,000 for stage 4. Some other cost-saving strategies: review every medical bill. Mistakes are common. Ask for generic medicines when possible. See if charitable organizations can help. Many offer grants to pay for expenses. And take advantage of drug manufacturer assistance programs. Alexa Lorenzo, WGEM News.
And according to an NIH study, 11.9% of people with breast cancer skipped fertility preservation because of the cost, and almost 11% skipped desired breast reconstruction.